Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for a very special interview. Yes, we're still talking all things Power Book 2 Ghost. We have finally reached the finish line for part 1. Yes, the season finale is available right now. And I know you fans got a lot to talk about with this part 1, but I brought some help with me today because I have one of the stars of the show to help break this episode down. Talia Robinson, who you know as Elle, is here, and she's going to be answering some of the hard questions. I'm very excited for it. Talia, how you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to talk to you at the red carpet. So we got a little bit of a sneak peek of what this character was in store for the season. But now that we got 5 episodes, we definitely got so many more questions, and I'm sure the internet has some finger pointing to blame with you with one of their beloved characters in Braden and his new activities. But before we get to that, I want folks to put some respect on who you are, because while this may be your second television project, you're far from a spring chicken, as they like to say. You've been making your ways in Broadway. You currently have a play alongside of the very talented Daniel Radcliffe and one of my favorite people who is also a Power Universe alumni, and Crystal Joy Brown.
Yes,
and that's
indeed.
Merrily We Roll Along, which folks, you can get tickets right now at HudsonBroadway.com. And tickets are on sale until this play wraps Sunday, July 7th. Can you tell us a little bit about this? Oh, excuse me, folks. In case y'all did not know, Tony Award winning play. So, yeah. But yes, tell us a little bit about this play and your character.
Yeah, so the play is it revolves around 3 best friends. The thing to really note about the show is it moves in reverse order. So it starts from the end and it moves to the beginning. And it's really about 3 friends who are all creatives trying to make it in New York City. My character, very similar kind of to Elle, is in the beginning of the show. So she's at the end. Her name is Meg Kincaid, and she is a young starlet who is the main character's side piece. Listen, she has a lot of respect for everyone. She is truly in love with the main character, but she's also got to get hers at the end of the day. So
this is eerie.
Yeah.
This is really eerie right now.
I know. It's not a typecast. It's not who I am.
She said, let me quickly debunk, like, why these 2 characters could be similar. I'm not that person.
That's not me. I'm a lover girl.
I want to know, being a part of the Broadway community and seeing so much success from that community translate into television and very much into the Power Universe. Crystal being one and Patina being another. What did that mean for you in terms of just the transition? Because I talked about it at some point, either a review or something, and I said, like, I think a lot of people think it's seamless or it's just a given because they're all, forms of acting. But, obviously have done it. Obviously others have done it and done it successfully. But what, as you being a person who is doing it, what is that transition like?
The transition is very interesting. You learn a lot very quickly. And it's not seamless. I mean, for me, I was on my first day of shooting for Ghost, I was nervous because all I'd ever done was stage acting, and I'd done one small co-star on The Equalizer, which was very exciting. But to be a part of a universe and a franchise as huge as Power and every show that connects back to it was very daunting. But luckily the cast and the creatives and the crew on Ghost were all so inviting and so welcoming, and made the shooting every day very welcoming and warm. And by the end of it, I felt like I knew exactly what I was doing. So I felt very lucky to be part of a set that believed in my capabilities, and made me feel comfortable. So it was great.
Amazing. That's always good. I think one thing as a viewer, a fan, and just somebody who critiques media is like it's always good to hear about the culture on these sets being a safe space and comfortable for folks. And I think that's what just brings out some of the best performances. And yeah, you done lied to me because I thought your resume was a lot longer, because you are fantastic in this. And you know, the thing about this universe, which I hope you understand now, is that people are very vocal about the characters, but there's no denying the actors. You know what I mean? They'll tell you like, oh, I don't like that person. I'm like, because they're making you feel something. That's acting.
You know, it's really funny. I got a taste of that, or I saw it from a third person's perspective, because Corey Jacoma is my boyfriend. So I've seen how people talk about Trey. And I said, oh, they're gonna come for me. That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. I'm glad.
It's difficult, I tell you. 1 minute they're like, they gotta go. Then when they go, they're like, oh, they left too soon. We didn't want them to die so soon. So I haven't heard the Elle has to go yet, but I'm thinking after this episode, they may have some comments to be made there. We'll see. Now, on the red carpet, you did mention that Elle, and obviously this was before we had seen your character introduced. You said she was given Erykah Badu, she was given scissors, she's an artist, she's free-spirited, and that's obviously all accurate depictions plus more, because there was so much you couldn't tell. Yeah. Starting off just with that, knowing that she was an artist, you are performing alongside of the likes of Light Skin Keisha and Young Blue, just a talented trio of just artists and talent as like professionals alone, but coming together as these characters. What is the group? The name of the group? I don't know if they've ever said that. Did they give a name of the group?
The walls and stuff. It's called No Lie. I'm pretty sure.
No lie. Okay. So we have another iconic group in the Power Universe, No Lie. I want to know, because with all three of you all being artists, and in different mediums at that too, what was the recording process? Was this something that was dubbed, or did y'all live perform these? I'm just kind of curious about how this was all done, and how was the meshing with the three of you all?
It was fantastic. I actually started in the studio by myself for that first song that I sang when Braden first sees me. We did that in the studio probably about a month before we started filming. That's where I met Big Tank, who was the supervisor for all the music. Such an incredible artist, producer, man in general. It was such an honor to work with him. So we went in there, we recorded that, and then Keisha and Blue came in probably a few weeks after that, and all of the songs are original. So we recorded everything in the studio, where there were the likes of people had told me that the studio we recorded, Beyonce had been there, Rihanna had been there, and I was sitting there like, you're joking, like there's no way. But it was really, really fun, and we all had a great time supporting each other in the studio. I mean, and they're, you know, the two of them are pros at recording in a studio. And they were very helpful for me to see how to run the ropes and how to get in there and lay down a track. And then when we filmed on set, they would just play the song that we recorded, which was usually one of the first times other people would hear. So we were always really proud of it. But, you know, watching the reaction of like the crew and of the background actors, it's always very exciting. And at the end of a lot of takes, they would look at me and be like, "That's you?" That's you know. So that was really exciting, and getting to perform with them, even like for pretend on a stage, was really exciting. They're incredible.
Upon you booking this, was there ever a point when you realized you were going to have to sing at all? Or was it always established, or it was always established in the beginning? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was like, man, what a surprise.
I was like, I got this.
All right, let's get into the weave of things now, because I know the fans are gonna want to act. So let's just get right into the questions. They're probably typing their comments, getting their comments, their tweets, all that ready for. First off, let's go back one episode when we started to see Braden and Elle really get lovey-dovey. And Braden is pillow talking. He's letting her know everything. I will talk about that relationship in a minute. The question I personally wanted to know, what is her interest was wanting a little product off the top. You know, the internet says, oh, she's working for blah, blah, blah. I've heard folks say like she's related to Don Carter. I heard that she has her own little organization. She's going to be the next Effie. And then I think this episode may have gave some clarity to that. But for you, if you can say, is there motives behind that beyond the granular scope of things we're seeing right now?
No, for seeing right now, Elle is only ever trying to do a few things for me: music and feel good.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And two of those things are being fulfilled. She feels good with Braden, and she's doing music with her group, and that's that. And having a little bit off the top is just, you know, I mean, what relationship doesn't have perks?
You're just the messenger.
I'm supposed to sit here. My boyfriend's a dealer.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Come on, please.
Yeah. I remember when I was in high school, I had a girlfriend who worked at why is it slipping out of my name, out of my head? The cinnamon bun. Guess who has cinnamon buns every day?
Every day. $3.99. There's no way. Why would you pay?
And I think that was like my big eye-opening moment as a kid. I was like, oh, relationship isn't always just about I like you, you like me. It's like, oh, there's actually some perks in this. You know?
Like, come on. And it's not, you know, not trying to take advantage of anybody. It's just, I have a need, you have a supply.
Yep, my sugar fix.
That's all.
You know, and the real crooks here is Big Pharma, but we're not going to talk about that today. Yeah, that's it. So, you know, the internet has a lot of commentary about Braden, who has now become a cokehead. Now, I've heard some things saying it's her fault, but also I've seen some things saying, well, we all knew it was going to get to this at some point. Braden did open up in this episode by stating that like maybe this becomes a measure of an outlet for him. I think there's a lot to really make with this, because I think for everything Braden's been through, and obviously his role is falling apart right now, I think maybe Elle creates maybe a safe space that he feels like he can do this, and it's okay. And I also think that him seeing Elle probably also sort of promotes the idea that this is a safe habit that might not get out of control. Yeah. Now, Elle might have been doing it for a long time, but Braden is absolutely new to this. And I will also go as far as saying that this potentially could be in his blood, because we've seen his brother doing it in previous seasons. So this could be dangerous. For you, though, what do you make, and whether you want to speak in terms of Elle or yourself, like, what do you think about Braden's newfound habit and dabbing into the coke here?
I do think it is, don't do drugs, kids, first of all. Children, don't do drugs. But I think in general, he feels safe with her, because she does it so often and she feels fine. She's functioning fine. And he probably sees that and is like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't such a big deal. And in that prior episode, she does say, you know, I see you. I'm just letting you know that I see you. I'm not trying to judge you. I'm not saying you shouldn't do this, or like, ooh, nice, now I can. No, it's just, I see you, and it's okay. It's okay to like do a little something to make you feel good, because you're constantly, I think she clocks that he's constantly under pressure. She doesn't know, also, you know, shout out Pressure, the song. But she doesn't know that the depth of what he's going through just yet. But she does see that there's a baseline of not okay going on. And so I think the way that she views drugs and drug usage is exactly as you said, an escape, so that he can have some sort of respite. And she's at the end of the day, she's not in charge of him. You know, he's grown, so she can offer and say, like, if you want to partake in this with me, sure. But she's also not judging. So it's not, I don't think it's a matter of, is she, you know, her boyfriend's keeper? No, but she's there to try to make him feel good the same way she wants to feel good. That's all.
Is she genuinely interested in him?
I think so. No, I really do think so. Because at the end of the day, like we said, she's a musician. She's an artist. She's not really in it to, she's not a fake person. She's very real. She doesn't really lie. As soon as she clocks his business, she tells him. That's honesty. You know, that's true. If she was trying to get something from him, she would have kept that on the down low, try to, you know, weasel her way to into things and keep things from people. But she's very upfront about everything. She even, you know, says what she did. She's always telling the truth, especially to him. So I don't think there's any false language going on from her. I think everything she says to him is true, and she's trying to create an intimate relationship with him and telling him her secret. So I think she is genuinely interested. Yeah.
It's dangerous because he is surrounded by everybody who lies to him all the time. And we see him and Tariq, and obviously he's been keeping things from Tariq as well, his family. And so the fact that he has somebody who's so transparent, I mean, a lot of folks, and I think a lot of people can relate to this as well too, is that sometimes people don't know how to handle the truth when it's right there in front of you. And that is scary. And I don't know where that's going to make for next season, because you know, something that seems so promising, one wrong turn, and you know, especially when you got your little vice there, you know, you might want to overdo it. I don't know. I ain't gonna say anything. We'll see. Now, we also understand, and also I just want to say too that I think that very low key that you telling us that she's free spirited, that's something I wish we had really dissected a lot, because everything you just described is on point to that basically that tagline. Like it makes sense why she operates the way she does. And then even now being open about her having sickle cell, which I gotta tell you, this right here is some very intentional writing to the masses in the world and the ignorance out there that don't know much about it. I think at a point it was such a forefronting things in terms of society. Even in like elementary school, I think they brought like awareness to it. But then obviously, you know, folks are going to think and believe whatever they want with this disease. So I thought it was very intentional that they made sure that folks understood what sickle cell was, how does one operate with sickle cell, and then how some may get by with having it as well. So Elle bringing up sickle cell said Braden had never heard of it because he didn't grow up with black people.
Why would he? Why would he know about it? Of course not.
But beyond that too, obviously informing his ignorance, and obviously the masses watching about crisis. When you did see that within the script, what was sort of your like the light bulb moment in terms of being able to portray something that affects so many people that at times there's not enough conversation about?
Yeah, I think when I saw that in the script, it was a big light bulb moment. It was seeing a part of Elle that probably no one else sees, which is why she constantly, you know, or tells Braden in that episode to not tell anybody. It also shows people that once, I think in general, in life, in our society, a lot of times we tell people that, you know, I'm dealing with this mental health wise, physical health wise, whatever. They start treating you differently and looking at you like you're like no longer a normal person. Like you're no longer their friend. You're no longer their partner or whatever. Now you're this like careful little thing. I have to walk on eggshells around you, you know, and not everybody wants to be treated that way. So they decide to handle things on their own. And I think that for Elle is very important because she's, you know, she dresses very like alternative. She's very, you know, she's very much of her own mind, but she also wants people to respect her. She doesn't want to be looked down on. And she probably doesn't want it to get in the way of her music. She doesn't want that to become the tagline of her career. You know, like instead of being just an incredible artist, now she's the artist with sickle cell. She doesn't want that. And so I think for me, it was a deep look into how a person with a chronic disease, especially at such a young age, handles day-to-day life, and how she's trying to like sneak the medication while Braden is asleep so that she doesn't even bring it into her relationship, but then finally, you know, giving in and saying, you know what, I really care about this person. I'm going to tell them what's up, and trust that they're not going to see me differently or tell anyone else. So I think it just shows her humanity at the end of the day. You know, it's she really is as a person behind all the hair, behind all the makeup, and behind the music. It's who she really is and the struggles that she's really dealing with.
I personally find it very easy to root for Elle. I know I've had my suspicions, and I do have a few more questions to follow up with that. But I mean, like, that's such a compelling story that it's easy to get behind. And even to the fact that for somebody who's drug free and has never done anything of the likes of coke, understanding that she uses coke as a pick-me-up and really laying out exactly why, it tells you more of a bigger story about America. And as I said, the real villains here is Big Pharma. But you know, conversation for another day. But I have got to ask now, because this is truly the devil's advocate question. Can we take her at face value for everything that you just detailed, from everything she said? My measure of empathy is like, absolutely. But I know how addicts can be, and addicts, and to the degree of their manipulation, shows no end. And the fact that, like, you know, she's very present for him and she's very happy for him. She's obviously made some slick comments about, like, hey, a little bit off the top. And then even this is like this very, you know, detailed and outlined story about what she's going through. And the medicine's there, so there's no denying the truth. But also, we know sometimes medications could be gateways to other things. So for you, and I don't know how you want to answer this, but can we take her at face value?
You know what? I think yes. I think you can take her at face value, because even like you said, you know, addicts and their master manipulation. I think the thing about a lot of people struggling with drug abuse is that they also lie to themselves. So you don't really feel that you're lying when you say certain things. You're probably telling the truth. But at the end of the day, whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Like, in the moment, it's true. And in the future, they want it to be true. But drugs is as drugs does. So, like, you know, without saying too much, it's kind of like, you can take her at face value. She's a genuine, honest person. But she does love cocaine. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
Listen, the way how the power universe works, you could be sitting here right now saying, I'm about to spoil everything for you all. Here's the script, and people online are still going to have their own thoughts about it, as we know with the debate about Diana's baby and who's really the father. But you know, that's just the nature of being in the power universe. But I'm gonna go with these comments right now. So I'm just telling you the honest truth. Now, if she has me with the feels, and if I get swerved come the later part of this year, I'm gonna send you a nice text like, hey, we need to talk. So we'll be circling back on this discussion for sure, clipping this exact moment. But yeah, we'll see. I'm rooting for Elle. I gotta be honest, I'm rooting for Elle. In the universe where everybody wants somebody to die, I want Elle to like be
somebody gotta live.
Yeah, somebody gotta live. Somebody gotta have some music out there. We need that, you know. One thing I really do love about Elle as well too, as we come to our last few questions, is that as you mentioned, she's not in the market for being judged, but I think she handles it with grace when there is judgment being passed. That measure of like how she maneuvers through conversation is like something that should be studied, because we live in a reactive world where if somebody says something, you don't even think and process it. You're like, clap back.
Right.
And the fact that like Braden has definitely said some things that come from the measure of ignorance and reacting, and she just kind of just like, hold up now,
Right.
take a second, you know. Was that how did you feel about that? Because I think it's such a forward thinking, like I think it's like a forward thinking way that the society should more or less adapt that we don't typically see in characters. We see when there's drama, we clap back with more drama, but this was kind of like, no, de-escalation. Let's do this the graceful way. What did you think about how she handled some of the moments where most people would respond back in a measure of anger or aggression or something of that sort?
I think that's just the measure of an artist for me. Like a lot of artists will take those moments, clock them, and go into themselves, go right. Like as you saw, or as you know, we saw the moment that she sees Tariq and Brayden, and they're kind of, he's freaking out at her, calling her a snitch, this and that. The next scene, she's in her bed writing. You know, like, you know what? I'm not even gonna worry about it. Because at the end of the day, she's for really two things. She wants to feel good and she wants to make music. So reacting and screaming at somebody she hardly knows isn't really going to get her what she wants or get her where she needs to be. So I think having a level head about people for hurling insults or misunderstanding her, she's a chill girl at the end of the day. I think that when I say like she's a little bit of Erykah Badu, a little bit of SZA, it's that, you know what am I going to do? Like sit here and yell at you? Why would I do that? Why would I waste my breath? I'm going to plug it into my music. I'm going to plug it into my career, use the feelings. Cause yeah, I'm insulted, but who are you to me anyway? You know, you're Braden's best friend. Braden's the person I care about at the end. And when it comes to Braden and not knowing about certain things and his privilege, it's like that to her is more of a you know what I mean? She's like, all right, okay, I'll tell you. It's okay. I know who you are. She said it first episode. She says, I know who you are. It's okay. You know, you're a spoiled little white boy, and that's all right. You're still cute. And so she just chooses to explain in that moment. I think that also shows that she cares about him more than she wants to be annoyed. So
I hear that. So she didn't take that snitch comment personally, because that the way they filmed that looked like of all things said to her, snitch was like, all right, that's the word I'm not dealing with, you know. So that there's nothing to look into that. You should say
to say no. I think for me, she was like, you think I'm a snitch? Of all the people,
there you go. There
it is, right? It's like really? Like of all the people, it's me? Okay, let's all, I think everything's a little hot. I'm gonna go, you know.
Talia, I knew we were gonna have an interview. You tell me you're gonna give me some acting chops in here real quick.
Whatever you can glean, I'm happy to give.
Hey, you're amazing. You're amazing.
Thank you so much.
Just a few last questions and then we'll wrap up. So we talked about the snitch thing. And Braden standing up for her, I think, was a big moment as well, too. I think that further solidifies that there's like genuine feelings. I mean, he's standing up against his best friends. Like, hey, don't call her that. That's telling there. And then obviously she gets to see firsthand the Braden and Tariq fallout, which just ends up being one of the funniest and yet most important moments of this entire first part of this final season. So we see her back in the band, you mentioned, doing the music and whatnot, and then we slowly but surely get into a notion that she gave Tariq acid because he needed to, like, he's a little edgy right now. He needed something to calm that down, you know. So she took the liberty in doing what I guess she would say is a solid. But it becomes one of the most, as I say, one of the most funniest yet important scenes, because this is the first time in 4 seasons that Tariq has to self-reflect. Right. And we literally see him versus him in the iconic moment when his dad passed the truth, and which tells you that he not only does he sees himself in his dad, which he finally admits to, but he also sees about maybe how he could have rethink his decisions from that, which I know there's going to be a lot of think pieces on that, and we're not even going to get into that. But like, it's a very big moment. But I just want to know, just quick reaction and a fan to Power. What was your thoughts about seeing that scene?
I mean, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I thought it was hilarious, and then the way I think they started with kind of like the funny aspect of tripping, and that kind of threw everybody off guard. And then once they got to the end, I was like, oh. Like, it's so smart. The writers of this show are so brilliant, and they're always calling back to the original, the OG. And I think it is so, you know, it's unlike most shows I've ever seen. I think understanding the universe of this show and where it fits as a whole, and always recalling back to that, it's genius. And I think it's what keeps the people hooked. It keeps the people interested, engaged, because they can always, like you said, right, think pieces, have opinions, and that's what is most entertaining about TV. Like, that's what we love to see. So yeah, I loved it. I thought it was incredible.
Amazing. So last question is, you know, she has been really big on secrets, and I think you have kind of outlined this because, you know, one, she talked about not wanting Tariq to know about taking some off top and what type of problems that could potentially cause for Braden, but she's not worried about that. And then obviously her not wanting anybody to know about her having sickle cell, and obviously because she's trying to avoid pity. So is there anything else to kind of outline why secrecy means so much to her for somebody who is so transparent?
Right. I think she keeps things close to her chest. At the end of the day, she's an artist who is trying to make a career. So she can only trust a few people. You start telling everybody your business, and all of your business is going to be out there, and it'll get misconstrued. It'll get confused. People are going to make their own assumptions about your life, about who you are. And so I think keeping things from people is strategic to protect herself, to me, in my opinion. But she trusts Braden, and that's why he's in on everything.
You know, the fans have been saying that this dynamic is very reminiscent of Tommy and Holly. Obviously, Braden's getting all the Tommys, you know, comparisons because they're both white. But like, we see that Tommy, who I don't really think the two of them are at all pretty similar, but I do see the similarities a little bit between Holly and well, I see the potential comparisons with Holly and Elle, and well, hopefully Elle doesn't have Holly's fate by being strangled and, you know, all that other good stuff. But, you know, I'll let the internet have that one and we'll see what they say. I don't think there's no point in diving into that, but I will say it's been a complete honor and pleasure talking with you today. I appreciate the vibes at the red carpet and really getting us prepared for your character. And now just really outlining everything that, although you done gave us 30 minutes of conversation, that the internet is going to debunk everything because they don't believe it. They got their own thoughts. They're going to be like, you remember when Joey Badass told everybody he died and and he came back? They'll find reasons to discredit everything he said. But this is the universe.
And honestly, amazing. I'm so glad. Because when people are engaged, that's what makes it fun. It's the best part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we'll circle back. We'll see if you held your honesty here. Now I'm just playing. You know, you got to do what you got to do. I don't know any secrets. I don't want anybody DMing me asking anything. There's nothing like that. We're only talking about part 1 today. I cannot wait to Power returns back for part 2 later part of this year. And that will be really sticking the nail in the coffin for Power Book 2 go. So it's going to be bittersweet, but there's still so much that needs to be covered. There's so much I can't wait to find out.
We'll get to all of it, promise.
Talia, thank you so much for your time today. Folks, jump in the comments. Any questions that you all have, get down there and let her know. Show love. And in the description, you can, and you will see the link for her Broadway play, Merrily We Roll Along. Again, tickets are on sale to Sunday the 7th. Then you can just keep over on social medias. That's in the description below and see what else is coming down the pipeline for this star. I'm trying to tell y'all, there's a little secret here, and I'll just be the first to say it, but like folks who happens to transition from Broadway to Power end up going to do bigger and better things, and this is just the start of it. Power has really developed and really exposed so many talents across the board from so many different cities, and I absolutely feel you're going to be one of the next ones up. So I'm happy to get this right now before you get too big, and then I won't even hear from you. But truly, no, it's been a pleasure, and I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for watching this one. We'll see y'all back for more Power content very soon.